Hello everybody and welcome. Hello Mary, hello Claude. It's nice of you to join me. Thank you everybody for being here. I'll be keeping an eye on the numbers. It is indeed 1900 hours on the 27th of April 2026. The sound is good. I can see a green mic. Hi Rosa, brilliant. Glad you're here. Hello Anne and thank you. Anne, and you know what I'm saying thank you for. Hi Judy, hello everybody. Welcome. And here we are, the last week of the month. Hi Adam, thanks for that. No worries, Judy. I have a couple of things to share, and I think you're going to like them. The gentleman that shared a message with me isn't on, but someone wrote, I don't understand how to have such good entries to have small stops. At least 80% of the trades I take, the price immediately goes against me, 10 or more pips. So, a great tip I thought for the battlers. Now, he wrote a lot more than that, but I've condensed it, and I think he'll know who he is when he watches this back, assuming, of course, that he does watch this back. And if he doesn't, it's okay. It will help the many. So, a great tip, I thought, for the battlers experiencing exactly that, and you know who you are. It's not about naming or shaming. It's not the first time I'm giving this speech. It is everything about mentoring, though, and I won't be overly soft with the mentorship, not ever. So please consider taking a week off live trading, those of you who experience exactly that, and I'll get to the why in a moment. Mentoring shouldn't be about helping you wipe your bottom or blow your nose or it'll be all right, because I'm not like the other companies out there that say, oh, didn't you understand from our last conversation? Well, for only another X amount of thousands of dollars, we can upsell you this other thing that you didn't get with your initial purchase. Now, many of you came to me from a company that will remain nameless, TS, and you know that's the upsell hell that many face. We don't face that. We don't expect that. We don't anticipate it, and we sure never do it. Mary, I think you might be, in fact you are, you were on the first live group I ever taught way back in 2014. Okay, that is well, it's 14 years ago, isn't it? Is it no, it's 12 years ago now. There's my maths. I need fingers, Mary, and I only have 10 of them, so would have had to use me toes for that. But you'll be able to confirm there's never been an upsell, has there? And you've sat next to me in boardrooms, in hotels when we did the live stuff, in the Osprey and somewhere else. There you go. Yup, says Mary. Hard to believe it's 12 years. And never, James. So there you go. That's confirmation on record for all to read those comments. Certainly they're in the chat. I know anyone watching the recording cannot read the comments. Well, that's tough. It is what it is. Anyway, so here's the thing. The fix for getting in late, the fix for it goes against me 10 pips every time I go into a trade. The fix, Bob says, great subject. And isn't it, Bob? You're going to love this. But I'll bet, Bob, that after I've said it, you'll be able to unmute and say, oh yeah, you've said that before. So I'm going to say it now. Please consider taking 1 week off your live trading and instead be there. Yes, watch the charts. Yes, don't trade them live, but hit the print screen button. So on your keyboard, there is a button right next to F12 usually, and it says print screen. It might say PRN SCR if it's a small keyboard, but it's along the lines of print screen. And what I want is, you see the way there's a green line around this screen here? Basically, it's because this is the screen I'm sharing. When you hit print screen, I want that to appear. I want this to appear. You see the time and the date you entered the trade and the seconds. So if I was to go bam and hit print screen right now, my problem is that I've got 4 screens, but you possibly don't. I could use, you see this software here? This is, yes, it's recording, so I can't use that, but it's Ice Cream Screen Recorder, and I could use that to take a screenshot. And I want you to print screen where and exactly when you see the entry that you would normally take. Don't cheat. Please don't cheat. You're only lying to yourself. Do it as if you were hitting the buy or the sell button in real time. Paste the screenshot to a Word document or a Notepad document if you haven't got Word, to anything basically, but paste it. If I hit print screen right now and opened a blank Word document and said paste, it would indeed paste all 4 screens. I should probably demo that. So if I go file, yes, I've hit file on the Word document, new blank document, and here is a new blank document, and I'm going to go print screen. Now it's got the 44 seconds and it's got the 7:06, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go Control V. Boom. There is the paste of my 4 screens. There's our chat. There's the Word document that I've just pasted. There's the YouTube open because I'm going to upload this in a moment. These are the notes I've made for our session, and this is the chart in the background. I don't need to save it. I just wanted to show you that if you hit print screen, you're marking the time that you would have normally placed the trade, and it gives us something to review. It gives you something to review. And Judy says, I've been doing this, just making the trade like I'm going to take it, and it helped me so much. Thank you, Judy, for sharing that, because others need to see that. Others need to read that. And you gentlemen that wrote to this, it's a brilliant question, by the way. It really is a brilliant topic to be going over. But you that wrote that initial, at least 80% of the trades I take, the price immediately goes against me. That's why I want you to take a week off. Print screen where you're going in. Don't cheat. Do as if you were hitting the buy or the sell button. Paste the shot to a Word document and review that. I'm going to bet the screenshot will probably more often than not be a cheat. But do try to be honest with yourself. It's designed to help you, to coach you to improve. If you're honest with yourself, it will help. Judy says, especially on your calls, I take 1 intentional entry for my 10 pips, but every time you talk about a level, I pretend I'm going to take it by marking it with lines. Well then, Judy, the next part of the session is going to be particularly helpful for me if you and Claude, because you said you might, and I name Claude and I'll explain why in a moment, because the next part of the session is a few questions next I have for you, and I'd like to see what the answers coming back look like. Always I strive to improve our sessions, and in light of the recent internal competition, let's say, via session overlap times, I thought this would be a good way to sift the sand. Firstly, during my sessions, Judy and Claude, and anyone else who feels the urge actually, I generally have a direction bias based on the multiple time frames, the pivots therein, and the divergence and the price action that we see on the as at now basis. So, can I get a response, please? Ideally verbal. And I'm naming Claude because Claude writes them down. Now, some people will say, oh, well, so what? He writes them down. That's genius, ladies and gentlemen. It's genius. Why? Because genius is obvious perception, unseen by anybody else. You write them down, you review the chart, and you'll know tomorrow Well, yesterday it was right because I wrote it down, and look what happened when I wrote it down. So I appreciate that you write it down, Claude, and I appreciate that you share in the sessions that yes, you did say that level. So, can I get a response, please, right or wrong, more often than not, in my sessions on the direction? I mark my chart with horizontal lines, says Anne. Thank you, Anne. Go on, Judy, you've unmuted.
Yes, absolutely. That's what it took me a minute to understand the levels that you talk about. And I know I did make a mistake last week of taking a entry that was actually a pivot, but in terms of like direction and the actual number you even mention on the screen, it's very clear. So always appreciate that clarity, James.
Thank you, Judy, and thank you for unmuting and saying it. There you go. You're famous now. You're on YouTube with me. Sakthi says, James, after you advised me to focus on patterns after DRS, divergence, rejection of a line and a signal, our signals, things have been going really well. No more over trading. Thank you. Well, thank you, Sakthi. I appreciate that. Now, where was I? Yeah, that's the first question, and we can accept that, yes, more often than not, we're right. Usually up, says Claude. Yeah, well, that's, we're buying the dips at the moment, aren't we? Someone else can bring the chips. Now, or then, I should say, at 14:26 GMT, or London time zone, if you like, each US Open session, we are looking for a breakout of what are very specific levels. Those levels, Claude, let's get you to unmute and answer this one. Are they very specific? Yes or no? And it isn't a round number, is it? What is it? Is it specific? Go on, sir.
Can you hear me?
Go on, say it again.
Can you hear me?
I can now, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, your levels are to the T, and I mean, I can't say 100% of the time we hit them, but I'd say 95.
That'll do. That'll do. They're very specific levels, and when we break out of them, they're right more often than not.
Too sometimes, right? So sometimes your level will be 23, 4, 12, but it may not hit 412 right out of the gate. It may drop off 20, 30 pips, and then, when it comes back to that area, I'm looking because I know you've said it's going to go up at 412, so I'm looking for a buy.
Cool. That'll do. Excellent. Because that brings us nicely, very nicely, I might add, and thank you, sir, for that. I appreciate it. The next point is, they're right more often than they're not. We got a yes. Also then, if they fail, a failure at those levels, but if they fail, do we get caught out chasing? Yes or no? And yet I've paused after each time. Anne sets orders, you bang on, spot on, and Judy also likes the orders, and no, says Sakthi, we do not get caught out chasing. Anne agrees, no chasing, that's right, because, why? Well, we're too old to chase stuff, aren't we? It would be like chasing a bus. I'd be trying for my first heart attack, and I'm kind of trying to put that off as long as I possibly can. Next bus, says Judy, and Claude says, I do once in a while, but not because of you, because of me, dummy. All right, yeah. I got into a lot of trouble for that today. Well, we won't go into there, but mummy rhymes with dummy, and me and Stacey were in trouble, and so we just got into more trouble. I'll leave the thoughts with you there. I let my gob put me in bother. I'm good at it, don't worry. Don't worry at all. Anyway, after each option, we noted the answers, and I really appreciate you, Judy. I appreciate you, Claude. Thank you for unmuting. Thank you for confirming things. You're both going to be famous. You're coming onto my YouTube channel with that one. So I'm looking for 10 pips per hour usually, but on Thursday last week, the 23rd, Claude, I'll need you to be ready to unmute with this one, or anyone actually. Again, there's we're only 25 people online, but please, if you were on with me on Thursday, please feel free. Thursday last week, the 23rd, we saw a 110 pip predicted move on the Dow. in just 2 minutes. The entry level clearly defined and the target clearly identified. Our learned colleague Claude takes the time to write those levels down, and I appreciate that bucket loads. So, are you prepared, again, Mr. Claude, to unmute and confirm my statement? We got in and we were looking for, I forget the numbers, but there was a 400 at the top. There was a 290 entry. Were we right?
I remember it very well.
There you go.
I didn't get the whole 102 that you did. I think I seem to remember I got 62 because I went in a little late.
No problem.
I had the level written, but I guess I just chickened out a little bit. It was moving so fast.
Price went 2 pips past our target, which means our target orders were filled because the spread's less than 2. So that was great. And then, it fell back and we could have gone a second bite of the apple. I think, in fact, I did. But that's my point. We had a 290 entry and a 400 target. I don't remember if it was 49,290 or 109. I don't remember. But there was a 2, so it must have been 49,290 to 49,4 last week, Thursday. And it smashed it. It went straight there and then it fell off. And Dow was my preference for the day. So there you go. There are often times in the past when someone has challenged that I called levels like that at all. Not in recent times, like in the last few years, but in the old TS days, for sure it happened. I just think there were a lot of beginners and less experienced traders there. But now, with all the information in mind that I've just given you, what's the story? What reasons can anyone offer me for needing anything other than maybe only one live session per week, never mind the 6 or 7 that we have? I'm hearing the little children from Stacey's group of school friends now laughing and saying, 6, 7, because we have 6 or 7 sessions per week. What do you need, traders? What do you need? What does it take for a man to change? For me, it isn't much. Start me up, open me eyes, turn me loose, and you'll see why. Questions, please, anybody? Else, it's a nice early finish. Judy says, oh my God, haha, the 6-7. Yeah, we hear a lot here. And Claude says, that was an amazing day. Hit big percentage with that trade, and it was high lots. Well done. Well done. I made up for you, Claude. There's my point, though, everybody. We're on sessions together, and again, a gentleman messaged me. That's why this session was born. Somebody messaged me and he said 80% of the trades I take, the price immediately goes against me. Someone else messaged me with a testimonial, and oh my word, it came at a time you can't imagine how much that helped me. I won't name you, but I know you're on the session now. It's not fair of me to name you. But there's some internal conflict in the group that I work with, and it's sort of, sometimes it comes across of the things I'm doing, it's not appreciated, what have you. And then you wrote me that. Well, wow. And I replied to you, wow, thank you. It really did make it. I've put it on Facebook, Judy. I've posted it, absent names. But the person who sent it to me is here in the session, and I do appreciate it. I appreciate it more than anyone can possibly imagine, because something like that is really uplifting for me. For me, that's getting on with you and saying, this is where we're going to buy it, this is where we're going to sell it, and this is why, because this is what I can see, and these are the reasons. And we're not doing it randomly. It's not a gamble. It's not a coin toss. It's not a gut feeling. I'd be wrong. Anyway, it wasn't Claude. No, Claude didn't write it. Claude wrote something else, and I shared the something else, but that was something else. It was a really nice thing, and I'm very, very pleased to have received that message. So thank you, you that wrote it. You can read it on my social media anyway, Judy. I know you follow, and you're welcome to have a look and write your own as well. Don't be shy. I don't name anybody. I don't think anybody wants their name plastered on anywhere. And I'm not out to be famous or anything. I really just want our members to know that they can trust our levels in our sessions. It matters. It matters a lot. My question again, says Judy, is why do you help people, James? You don't have to. No, you're right. And please believe me, Judy, very, very often I do help people out by saying, certainly I'll help you out. Which way did you come in? That's genuine, Judy, I do. But it depends on the person. If the person is a genuinely interested trader who genuinely wants to become part of our group and genuinely wants to turn it into an income and a living and become a trader helping traders, then yeah, I will bend over backwards to help that person. But if it's someone who says, will you make a lot of money for me trading for me? Yeah, which way did you come in? Because, you know, don't let the door hit you in the arse on the way out. I've got very little time for them. There you go. Mary has written, I can attest to that, James. And you can, absolutely. Mary is one of the people who has sat next to me, right next to me. That was the Osprey, wasn't it, Mary, when I got the blank screen thing? Right next to me in the Osprey whilst we traded. And I tell you what, Mary, you write in, if you would, what stake did I place on that trade? I remember it was a DAX trade, but what was my stake? Judy wrote, LOL, a few of us were talking about it and we were like, why does James help people? What drives you to mentoring when you wouldn't have to? Well, Judy, the more of you I help across the line, Mary says, I'm nearly afraid to say, unmute and say it, Mary, for the recording. Just do it. Go on, do it, please.
Oh God, I think it was €100 a pip or something, wasn't it? Something mad like that.
It was my full tilt, yes, it was indeed. Thanks to you, Mary, I appreciate it that you said it. Thank
Absolute shocked.
you. There you go. Now, Mary sat next to me while I did that, and my screen, I had USB screens, and they came loose, and it all went blue while I was in the trade. But I had a 40 pip target, and by the time I got the screen back, the trade had closed to target, so that's okay. So
I was having a panic attack for you.
No worries, thanks, Mary. I had the stop in place if it had gone wrong, but I didn't expect it to. So, Judy, here you go. Here's why I help people. I've got children. The eldest ones, well, the eldest, my son-in-law, he's learned with me, but the younger ones haven't yet. What if I pass away in between when they can and should and now? Who will teach them? Well, I know Mary's there, and she's right here in nearby. She's in Carlo. I dare say, if I posted it in my will somewhere, Mary, would you please teach my daughter what I've taught you? You don't have to give her the mentality, just, you know, start her up and open her eyes. I'm sure Mary would help me. I absolutely don't doubt, because we are traders helping traders. If I died in the morning without passing this on, Judy, I would regret that. And there you go, Mary says, I would help if I could. There are many others in the group, not least of which my son-in-law, Jason. I absolutely know he would. He absolutely would teach my little girl if I was, you know, what's that dementia type thing? I don't know if I've already got it or what. But, you know, what if I got something like that in the morning and couldn't pass on that information sensibly? Somebody would, somebody could, because we are a group of traders helping traders. Thank you, Arta. You are absolutely right. That's who we are. That's what we are. And Mary's right there. She says we all help each other. In the chat, there are constant, and I mean constant, updates. I'm just going to open it on another screen so I can see it for myself. There you go. Claude posted about the Magnificent 7 earnings reports. Prior to that, people were talking about the lob this morning, the pips they took, the pips they missed. Someone's taken a day off. I posted the links for these sessions. We were talking about statistics to measure consistency in the group. We were talking about discipline. We were talking about rakes of things in the group, always, every day, and it's helpful. That's what it is. Claude says, I envy you youngsters. You have a huge life ahead with discipline and patience. Absolutely. Me too, Mary. Mary writes, I love the daily updates that people share. Claude, there you go. You're not over 30. How's that, mate? Sakti says, I just wanted to say our strategy is amazing and your teaching is truly excellent. Thanks, Sakti. I consistently make pips in our sessions. Any small losses are just me improving my execution. They're also a cost of sales, in fairness, not the strategy. Thank you for your guidance. No worries at all. You're welcome. It's always going to be the case that we do that. Oh, nice one. I like that one, Bob. 62.5 DAX pips today. Thanks, James. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that you said it. And Claude wishes he'd started when he was 40. I don't recall how old I was when I started. In fact, I'd have to work it out. 2004. Hey, I was 40 when I started, Claude. There you go. In fact, it was March, so I wasn't quite 40. I was still 39. But there you go. That's what it was and when it was back then, all those years ago. And I was Mary, that's right. Mary was teaching me all about Sage and Sage Payroll. And Mary's a bit of a genius, ladies and gentlemen. If you ever want an accountant that is, I don't know how to say it other than saying more qualified than God, then you need Mary. That's the truth, that is it, you know. I think when God wants to measure who's coming through the pearly gates, he'll ask you. I don't know. That's it. I hope that's not detrimental or blasphemous or what's the word I'm looking for? Offensive to anybody. But you know me. I'm very capable of needing a glass of water to wash down my foot sometimes. There you go. Mary says it doesn't matter. Sorry, Rosa says it doesn't matter when you just get started. It doesn't. Just start. Whenever it is, start. And Judy needs a good accountant. Mary's not in Canada, no. She's right here in Carlow, nearby me. We're long overdue a coffee and a scone, but I owe Petra a coffee and a scone or something first, because she's in, you know, been in the queue. We'll make a plan, Mary, though, for sure. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We are 26 minutes into the recording. If you all haven't got any questions, I'll probably end the recording and get this thing uploaded for everyone. I very, very, very much appreciate those of you who've unmuted and stated the case. It is, you know, oh yeah, Bob must have been over 60. I reckon you was, Bob. I reckon, yes. Harvey too. You know, there were some, who's Mr. Christopher H. I won't give his surname, but he's very often in our sessions. And he likes to be called Christopher, not Chris, so you'll know who I mean. I think he's the oldest in our group at all. If he ain't a centurion, whatever you call it, you know, he's close. There you go. It could be that Claude, the guy who takes late entries, he's not watching signals well. It might be. It just might be. That's why we need the screenshots to help us manage. And those screenshots, just once again for everybody, we need that digit right there, the bar you're in, and the time you took it. Screenshot. Bang. I entered the buy or a sell right then. And then show me that it goes, you know, with you or against you. That's what it is, mentorship. You know, review what you did so we can make you did it better next time. Thank you, Zoom user, who says, I love your sessions, James. Love the screenshot tip. I hope it helps you then. Go on, I'm going to stop recording. I'll say, please trade safe, everybody. We're back on in the morning at 9 a.m. for a live on the DAX. Thanks, everybody, for being here, and I'll see you on the next live one. Bye-bye.